Macy's and NFL Films Video present 49ers Super Bowl victory highlights.
Hi everyone, I'm Wayne Walker, and joining us today is the head coach of the San Francisco 49ers, Bill Walsh. We'll be taking a trip down memory lane, talking about the 49ers' 2 Super Bowl wins in the 1980s. Bill, I don't think most people realize how tough it is to win a Super Bowl.
Well, it really is, because so many things have to fit together over an extended period of time, and anything can go wrong along the way that would eliminate you.
It's the 1981 season. That's the one leading up to your first Super Bowl, and you have a very young team. In fact, you're starting 3 rookies in the defensive secondary. When was it during that season that you felt you could be a Super Bowl team?
Well, we really didn't know, but we thought we'd be contenders when we beat Dallas at Candlestick Park early in the year. Then as the season progressed, we had a great game against Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh, and we're one of the few NFC teams ever to win there. So then it began to develop momentum, and we didn't know how good we would be until really the final game, and we won it.
You mentioned Dallas as an opponent. You played them again in the NFC Championship game at Candlestick. That was a great game that ended with Dwight Clark's catch. Now, what really surprised me in that game was the fact you were able to run on Dallas. Tell us about that.
Well, they played a nickel defense in which they substituted a number of pass rushers and defensive backs to stop the pass. And we had a sweep play that we'd run all year that's been very effective. And we just managed to block them effectively and get outside of them before they realized what was happening. And I think really, Wayne, each time we ran it, they thought, well, that'll be the last time they do that. And we we ran 7 sweeps on that final drive.
You were very confident, I remember, going into that game. I know you told me in your workouts during the week, we're a little bit quicker than they are and they don't know it.
Well, that was true. We'd beaten them badly earlier in the year. They still had the great team, the great tradition, but we were quicker. But if you'll recall that game, there were officials' calls and all kind of things kept them in it. And finally, they went ahead with just a few minutes to go.
Now you're in the Super Bowl, and it's going to be at the Silverdome in Detroit. Now, is pressure's off you then?
Well, not really. We realized after beating Cincinnati earlier in the year that they had a great team and a dominating physical team. And our hope was we'd get out on them early, get a lead early, and then hold them off, and that's just what happened.
You got a big play early. Cincinnati got the ball and was driving down the field on you. They were inside your 20-yard line, and Dwight Hicks made an interception. That had to be a big play in that one.
Well, that was a big play. We managed to keep them out of the end zone that entire first half, even though they threatened a number of times. We built a 20-0 lead, and that was about all we had left. Then we held them off that entire second half, and I give a lot of credit to that young team just with that tremendous determination to win that thing.
Well, you've been real good in your career about protecting leads, not sitting on them, but protecting leads. And you did the same thing in that game with Cincinnati. What did you tell your team at halftime?
Well, we thought we had to score again. I said we had to have at least 7 more points. Well, we got 6 more. And then we had to shut them down. And we had a great goal line stand, if you'll recall, that stopped them on one of their particular drives, only to have them come back again and score on us. But we forced them to use a lot of time before they could score. And then in the final analysis, if you'll remember, there was a great catch by Mike Wilson for a 20-yard gain, a couple of good runs, field goals, and then an interception by Eric Wright that made the difference.
You know, I was totally amazed during that game that your team was so loose. You had a bunch of young players. They're in a Super Bowl with all the hype going into it, and yet they were loose all week long. Now, how'd you do that with them?
Well, we had a lot of humor, and by that time we'd had a good win streak going. We were very, very confident. We'd beaten the Bengals before, and we were just young enough and foolish enough not to realize the consequences of the game, how big a game it really was. All those things added up to just the right attitude at the right time.
Let's move along now and go to the '84 season and your next Super Bowl. That was almost a miracle season for you with a great record, losing only once.
Well, that was a season you could see coming. If you remember, the year before, we were beaten out in the NFC Finals through some questionable calls, honestly. And so we knew we'd have the momentum going into the next year. Everything seemed to fit together. Our team was at its best, and everyone had a great year. And so it just was the dream season. We had some close games along the way, 2 or 3 of 6-point wins or 4-point wins, but in the big games we were so strong. We had beaten the Giants earlier, and then in the playoffs we were able to do it. So it was one of those years that everything fit together, and after those years are completed and then you wait a few more years, you realize how tough it is to win one and how tough it is to have a great season like that.
You drew Miami as your Super Bowl opponent, but you had a couple factors going for you. First, you'd been in a Super Bowl before, and secondly, you were playing this one almost at home in Palo Alto. Those plus factors for you?
Oh, they really were. I think the preparation for the Super Bowl, having practiced at our regular facility, made a big difference. Because preparing for the Super Bowl, you really only get a week of practice. The second week, just prior to the game itself, is so hectic with the media crash and crunch and the attention the public gives. You just don't have time to even think. You're really operating on nerve about that time. So that first week here in Redwood City practicing really gave us an edge, I thought.
You were facing a very tough Miami team. Dan Marino had been tearing up the AFC, throwing to Clayton and Duper, and Miami, of course, coached by the great Don Shula.
Well, it was a great team. They'd gotten most of the attention. They had gotten most of the awards for outstanding player and coach, and all their passing records were creating a lot of national interest. Our team was solid, and I know the experts, or those that really know the game, felt pretty strongly that we would beat them. We were faster than they were and more explosive than they were, and it became evident pretty quickly going into the game.
It was very evident. You handled them really extremely easily. Bill, it was probably the most efficient game that I remember a team playing in the Super Bowl. You agree?
Well, it could have been. We scored in virtually every opportunity, but we had field position throughout that first half, if you'll recall. We kept forcing them to punt. They'd punt around midfield, and we'd drive it in for a touchdown. And it was a good game from the standpoint of the artistic part, because we ran well, we passed well, we rushed Marino well, we made our interceptions. So it was really the complete game.
So we mentioned earlier, Dan Marino had been burning up the National Football League, throwing to two wide receivers, Clayton and Duper, but you shut him down in that game. How'd you do it?
Well, I think the pass rush had a lot to do with it, then the changes in coverage. But we were just quick enough that it made a difference. We weren't quite getting to him, but we were forcing him to sort of rush his throws. And he was so used to doing so well. I think he, early in the game, became a little frustrated or anxious and kept waiting for something to happen. And we just kept the pressure on him, and he never could quite get in sync.
Two Super Bowl wins in the 80s. One of those carry more weight than the other?
Well, I'm sure the first one was a great thing for San Francisco. We had never won a championship in San Francisco, and our fans had waited so many years, and it was a Cinderella team. But it was a great team because we beat the best teams in the league that year twice. And so we proved that we were the true champions. The second Super Bowl was one really of an outstanding football team, in sync all season, and the chemistry of the team was just perfect.
And that second win also established you as perhaps the best team of the decade.
Well, we'll see. We still have more years to go, and we'd like to get another one.
Bill, thanks a lot for being with us today, and we'd like to thank Macy's for putting this together. Now you fans sit back and relax and enjoy some great 49ers football.
Good morning, 4 News Radio 95. In the city right now, the relative humidity is 66%, southwesterly winds at 21, giving us a wind chill factor of 25 degrees below zero.
Hey, Super Bowl hats here. Both team hats here.
High winds and very cold temperatures are the main factor to contend with. The wind chill index 25 to 35 below zero on strong winds. It is most treacherous of all for pedestrians right now. Sidewalks are glazed over most of the area. If you have a chance to hire someone or do it yourself, try to get that ice cleared.
Perhaps in one respect, Detroit's Silverdome was an appropriate site for the Cincinnati Bengals to meet the San Francisco 49ers. Both teams had come in from the cold to feel the warm glow of success after years of bitter disappointment and failure. Neither team had ever appeared in a Super Bowl before, and they arrived in markedly different frames of mind. The 49ers appeared confident and relaxed Coach Bill Walsh set the mood for his team earlier in the week when he donned a bellman's uniform and helped his players with their luggage. The Bengals, on the other hand, seemed anxious and grim, proud survivors of a difficult voyage under a demanding captain, Coach Forrest Gregg. Super Bowl history suggests the team that scores first wins the game. It had happened in 13 of 15 previous Super Bowls, and when Amos Lawrence of the 49ers fumbled away the opening kickoff, the Bengals had a chance to test that statistic. But they blew the test and then would become a victim of it. With the ball on the San Francisco 10-yard line, Kenny Anderson's pass was intercepted by Dwight Hicks, who returned the ball to the 32. From there, the 49ers would begin their quest for that all-important first touchdown that in Super Bowls past had usually shaped the action for the rest of the game. In 1981, Bill Walsh guided his 49ers to the NFC title with an offense that controlled the ball by passing rather than running. In Super Bowl 16, 5 of the first 6 49er plays were passes. When they crossed midfield, the 49ers unveiled another aspect of Walsh's diverse game plan. An exotic flea flicker pass from Joe Montana to Charlie Young gained 14 yards. 3 plays later, Walsh had another surprise for the Bengals. The 49ers left tackle Dan Audick moved over to the right side and lined up between guard Randy Cross and tackle Keith Farnhorst, giving the 49ers 4 blockers on the right side while leaving just 2 on the left. Bill Ring gained 7 yards running out of this unbalanced line. It was a little thing, but in Walsh's meticulous, precise offense, it is the sum of little things that count. A short pass to Freddie Solomon left the 49ers 1 yard away from the all-important first touchdown of Super Bowl 16.
Calling his signals is Joe. He's going to sneak it. He's in. A 49er touchdown. The 49ers are on the board, and they made it look rather easily as they went 68 yards to score.
Super Bowls often bring out the little old lady in mighty football teams, but the 49ers protected their lead with a defense that was just as daring and creative as their offense. Fred Dean, number 74, the all-pro defensive end, was used once as a roving linebacker in the first quarter. Dean's blitz was picked up, but Keena Turner got in for the sack. A more significant blow was struck by cornerback Eric Wright in the second quarter. Anderson completed a pass to Chris Collingsworth at the 49er 8. But Wright stripped the ball from Collingsworth and Lynn Thomas recovered. The ball-hawking 49er secondary had again snuffed out another Cincinnati scoring opportunity.
Brown right slot, F right, halfback counter, 14-0.
The 49ers took over the ball 8 yards from their own goal line. And from there began the longest touchdown march in Super Bowl history. Like the 49ers' first scoring drive, this one consisted not of a few big plays, but a lot of small ones, executed with precision and without error. With the ball on the Bengal 11, the 49ers called a play they hadn't used in 2 years.
Here's Montana throwing toward the end zone. Caught on the run by Cooper. He's got it. He's into the end zone. A 49er touchdown. Earl Cooper dripped it off into the left flat. Nobody picked him up over there. And a very, very well-conceived 49er offense has resulted in 3 or 4 wide-open receivers this afternoon.
The pass play that ended this 92-yard drive began with Earl Cooper faking a dive into the line. Freddie Solomon and Mike Schumann, the wide receivers on the left side, lured 3 defenders into the end zone. Then Cooper slipped unguarded into their vacated area to receive Montana's short pass. The befuddled Bengals encountered still another aspect of Bill Walsh's clever game plan on the ensuing kickoff. David Versa misplayed Ray Wersching's squib kick, and the resulting poor field position led to a 49er field goal that made the score 17-0 late in the second quarter. Walsh had discovered this unique kickoff in the season's opening game in Detroit, when an injury had prevented Wersching from booming his kicks. Walsh noted the funny results on the hard surface of the Silverdome, so he turned accident into design. And with 15 seconds left in the first half of Super Bowl 16, the Bengals fumbled Wersching's second squib kick, and the 49ers recovered. Wersching kicked a 26-yard field goal, and the 49ers ended the second quarter with the largest halftime lead in Super Bowl history, 20-0. Like a smoldering fire, the Bengals could be smothered by another mistake or fanned to life by a touchdown. At the start of the third quarter, Kenny Anderson sparked a Bengal drive with a variety of short passes. Then he culminated the 83-yard march with a 5-yard scramble for Cincinnati's first touchdown. The cool ingenuity of Bill Walsh had shaped the character of the first half. Now the mad fury of Forrest Gregg's defense would dominate the third quarter.
Down, he's going to run his ass. So be alert, second and long, and run that 36, 34 over there.
In the third quarter, the 49er offense was limited to 8 plays for a grand total of 4 yards.
The guy's playing so loose. He's playing the inside, take it up and break it. Don't chase him in. You're getting yourself covered by the inside linebacker.
On the bend in?
On on the out route on the 63.
Late in the period, a 49-yard bomb from Anderson to Collingsworth put the Bengals in position to score their second touchdown. With the ball on the 5-yard line, the 49ers committed what could have been a costly error. Linebacker Keena Turner didn't hear the call to go out on the field, and San Francisco lined up with only 10 men. Pete Johnson was held to just 2 yards, but it was enough for a first down and set the stage for the greatest goal line stand in Super Bowl history. Like the game itself, the outcome of this goal line stand would be determined by a collection of small things, some done well, some not. With it first down and goal to go at the 3, 49er tackle John Comer was not blocked. A missed assignment allowed him a clean shot at Pete Johnson, and with help from Danny Buns, Comer held the huge fullback to a 2-yard gain. Second down and 1 from the 1. Watch center Blair Bush, number 58, make a leaping but futile attempt to reach Jack Reynolds, number 64. Bush was too late, as Reynolds anticipated the play and delivered a stunning blow that helped stop Johnson for no gain. Bush would have preferred not to jump, but he was forced to by the charge of Archie Reese, and by the time he landed, Reynolds was on his way to the ball carrier. Actually, there were 2 missed blocks on this play. Anderson had called a blocking audible at the line of scrimmage. The man in motion, David Versa, was supposed to block Craig Pookie, but Versa didn't hear the audible, and Pookie jammed the play for no gain. Third down and 1 from the 1. Anderson passed to running back Charles Alexander, but Danny Buns dropped him 12 inches short of the goal line. It was an outstanding play by Buns and another critical mistake by the Bengals. The play called for Alexander to get into the end zone before he turned for the ball. But he made his cut too short, and Buns made him pay for his mistake by tackling him immediately. Fourth down and 1 foot.
Bengals now as Ken Anderson is ready from the 2-foot line, calling signals on 4th down, has the ball, hands it off. He's met at the goal line. I don't believe he got in. I don't believe he's in there. The 49ers have held, and listen to the Niners crowd across the way.
The final play in the 49ers' magnificent stand was, in the best sense of the cliche, a team effort. Reynolds, Buns, and Ronnie Lott converged on Johnson and stuffed him at the line of scrimmage. Cincinnati had not only lost another scoring opportunity, but they lost something just as important: time. With only 1 quarter left to play, the 49ers led 20-7.
All right, let's play football.
Although time was running out on the Bengals, their fighting spirit never flagged.
Come on, O-line! Go!
And And early in the fourth quarter, their offense retrieved some of its lost dignity with a determined 53-yard touchdown drive.
Anderson will go back to throw. Looks, fires into the end zone. Touchdown to Dan Ross. And now the Bengals are right back in this football game.
With 10 minutes to play, the difference between the two teams was only 6 points. And the greatest comeback in Super Bowl history suddenly seemed within the grasp of the surging Cincinnati Bengals.
Coming back on them, baby. We can do it.
And you have to wonder if the 49ers aren't beginning to come apart a little bit here, Andy.
All day long, the 49ers had consistently made the little plays. Now they needed a big one. They got it when Joe Montana passed to Mike Wilson for a 22-yard gain. Walsh designed this play specifically for Mike Wilson because whenever he ran a pattern longer than 20 yards, the Bengals would cover him deep, assuming he would be Montana's long-range target. But this new play, named Sweep Pass Right Z Comeback, called for Wilson to go downfield 25 yards, then cut off the pattern and come back for a shorter pass. A tiny adjustment, but a big play, and it gave the 49ers decent field position for the first time in the second half. From this point on, Walsh went exclusively to his ground attack. Cincinnati finally stopped the 49ers' advance by sending defensive backs like Bobby Kemp, number 26, on kamikaze missions to knock out the lead blockers. The Bengals had given up too much ground, however, and Ray Wersching's 40-yard field goal restored strategic control of the game to the 49ers. Whatever small hope remained for the Bengals died on their next offensive play.
Here's Anderson backpedaling, throws a pass over the middle. And it's intercepted by Wright. He got it at the 45, the 40, down the sideline, the 25, cuts back in, still on his feet. Gets away from the tackler, then fumbles it. It's loose there at the 21-yard line. We'll see who got it. And the 49ers have recovered a ball just short of the Bengals' 21-yard line. That might be it right there.
Eric Wright's interception led to Wersching's fourth field goal, which increased San Francisco's lead to 12 points with just 2 minutes to play. Now the Bengals were battling not only the fired-up 49ers, but an even more relentless enemy, the clock.
Run, clock, run!
Once again, the resourceful 49ers proved there are many ways to play this game and win. They let Anderson complete his passes in the center of the field, but never allowed his receivers to catch the ball near the sideline and stop the clock. So, as Anderson gained yards, he lost time. With 16 seconds left, the Bengals scored on a pass from Anderson to Dan Ross. Although the final touchdown belonged to Cincinnati, Super Bowl 16 belonged to the San Francisco 49ers.
The 49ers have won it. Bill Walsh and his staff and a team that's compounded pro football observers throughout the year, winning week after week and compiling that 13-3 regular season record.
For the first time in the 35-year history of the team, the people of San Francisco could proudly say those three magic words: World Champion 49ers.
stand behind and cheer, believing in a dream, hoping this will be the year. Now we're all together and the trophy stands alone. And when the game is over, one team will take it home. In the end, when all is said and done, who will be the last to say we won? The action, the energy, as we watch the best excel. This is the NFL. In the end, when all is said and done, who will be the last to say we won? Oh, the action, the energy, as we watch the best excel. This is the NFL. 28 teams with just one ring. This is the
In the oldest stadium ever to host a Super Bowl, the youngest quarterback ever to start in one completed 4 of his first 5 passes to set up a field goal and a 3-0 lead for the Miami Dolphins. While Dan Marino is the game's state-of-the-art passer, the San Francisco 49ers' Joe Montana is football's most versatile quarterback. In an early demonstration of the multiple talents of their offense, the 49ers retaliated with a 78-yard scoring drive that culminated in a 33-yard touchdown pass from Montana to halfback Carl Monroe. The 49ers' touchdown would be the first of many pearls in a large collection of offensive gems. At 5'8", 166 pounds, Monroe was the smallest player on the field, but he had made the first big play, and the 49ers moved ahead 7-3.
Fantastic. You know, they talk about Marino having a great arm, and I'll tell you, nobody could have thrown that ball any harder and on target than Montana did that time.
Well, he had plenty of zip, and I'll tell you, the run that he made on 3rd down was the one that set it up.
The balance of the game swung back to the Dolphins when Coach Don Shula instructed Marino to employ a no-huddle, hurry-up pass offense. Caught with their run-oriented defense on the field, and without the time to send in their pass defense specialists, the 49ers were vulnerable to Miami's quick-striking air attack.
No-huddle offense.
They come up the line of scrimmage quickly again. San Francisco cannot adjust its defense. Marino ready. He fires out the left side. Caught on the run that time by the tight end Johnson. Past the
Marino's 21-yard pass to tight end Dan Johnson was the key play in this drive. And it succeeded because Johnson beat linebacker Dan Buns, who is not usually in the game on passing situations, and man-to-man coverage is not his strong point.
Marino rolls to his right, flips to the corner of the end zone, complete to Dan Johnson for a touchdown. Just bing, bing, bing down the field in that 2-minute offense.
Dan Marino had completed 9 of 10 passes for 103 yards, and his touchdown toss to Johnson gave Miami a 10-7 lead. But this first period turned out to be nothing more than an illusion, teasing people into believing that Dan Marino was his usual unstoppable self. In the rarefied atmosphere of championship competition, a game rarely turns on a single play, but rather on the accumulated results of force, finesse, and brains. In a record-setting scoring spree in the second quarter, the 49ers unleashed all of these elements in a hurricane of 21 points.
It's caught there by Craig, gets it and goes in for a touchdown. Roger Craig taking the pass from Joe Montana. Good for the score, and the Niners are back on top.
Get in, Joe!
Montana drops back, short drop, fakes once. He's going to run it himself. He's into the end zone. Touchdown, 49ers! It's a handoff given to Craig. Craig batters his way to the goal line. He goes in for a 49er touchdown.
So now it's an 18-point deficit with the 49ers out in front by a score of 28-10, and the Dolphins being pushed all over the place.
The genesis of all 3 touchdown drives was Bill Walsh's plan to attack Miami's inexperienced inside linebackers. And throughout the second quarter, he exploited their inability to cover his elusive running backs. Roger Craig, number 33, caught 8 passes for 82 yards in Super Bowl 19, most of them at the expense of number 53, rookie linebacker Jay Brophy. Montana also had success throwing to his tight end, Russ Francis. When the linebackers followed a play fake to the outside, Francis, number 81, cut against the flow toward the inside and became an open target in the middle. Another clever play designed to confuse Miami's linebackers called for the backs and the guards to pull out in opposite directions. When the linebackers split to cover the backs, Francis had an open route through the middle. The Dolphin linebackers became so pass-conscious, heading downfield with their backs to the scrimmage line, that they often neglected Montana's ability to run. And his 59 yards rushing was the most ever for a quarterback in a Super Bowl. The 49ers' success was not only a triumph of tactics, but also a tribute to the talent in their offensive line. The texture of San Francisco's dominance was clearly woven into the intricate mayhem of line play. In the second quarter, the Dolphin defense, which had struggled all year, was suddenly pried apart by the 49ers, and points poured through on all sides.
The 49ers were equally impressive on defense because Bill Walsh had rearranged his personnel and completely disarmed Miami's explosive attack. He shifted to 6 defensive backs with 1 linebacker, Keena Turner, and 4 down linemen. Since the 4-man front is often vulnerable to the run, the Dolphins immediately explored this possibility, but the 49er linemen were penetrating too quickly. Gary Johnson, number 97, and Fred Dean, number 74, crushed the weak Dolphin running game with quickness. The 49ers' revised defense exposed the Dolphins as a one-dimensional team, and then proceeded to destroy that dimension. Their relentless pass rush did not dull Marino's determination, but did limit his effectiveness and caused him to play below the level of skill with which he led Miami to the AFC Championship. In the first 13 minutes of the second quarter, while the 49ers were scoring 21 points, the most prolific single-season passer in NFL history completed only 1 of 6 passes.
Marino has to get something started, or it might be the biggest blowout in Super Bowl history.
But I think that maybe that pass rush is starting to put some heat on Marino and forcing him to do just a little bit of what he didn't want to do, throw quicker than he would like.
Oh, we got to give him a little bit more time. We got to give him another half a second, huh? All right.
The Dolphins had started the game with a bolt of offensive lightning, but they were ending the first half in a drizzle of dreary incompletions. With 2 minutes left in the half, the Dolphins regrouped, and for a fleeting instant it looked as if Miami and Marino were regaining control. The Dolphins zipped down the field for 72 yards on a splendid drive that had its principal momentum furnished by a 30-yard pass to tight end Joe Rose. The drive culminated in a field goal by Uwe von Schamann, and San Francisco's lead was cut to 15 points. On the ensuing kickoff, von Schamann's grounder was fielded by reserve guard Guy McIntyre, number 62. At first, McIntyre wanted to down the ball, but after some encouragement from his teammates, he decided to get up. He coughed up the ball, and Miami recovered.
Ball is given to Miami with 4 seconds left.
Well, there's a rookie mistake.
Oh, boy. Here's Uwe von Schamann ready to attempt a field goal of 30 yards. He kicks it, and the Dolphins get a gift, 3 points.
And going in here at half, the Dolphins will get the second half kickoff, Don, so that does give them an added little lift at this stage.
The second half began in conditions perfectly suited to the filming of The Hound of the Baskervilles. The 49er defense rolled in on Miami like the fog, and the Dolphins fell into desperate trouble. Clayton, the shining light of Miami's receiving corps, was only a dim, distant beacon, obscured by San Francisco's close-guarding secondary. Marino was never able to recapture the brilliance that had made him the NFL's most valuable player in 1984, and his protection folded before the unrelenting pressure of the 49er rush. was sacked 4 times in the second half, the most ever in his 2-year career.
Back he goes to full forward, pass to Rush. He's going to be sacked. They got him. They got him back at the 15-yard line, throwing him for a loss on the play of 11 yards.
For the Miami Dolphins, the song of Super Bowl 19 was a sad one. Composed years ago by singer James Taylor, who wrote, "There were sweet dreams and flying machines in pieces on the ground." Bill Walsh has built the 49ers into a championship team by teaching them to do the unexpected. And Joe Montana is Walsh's prize pupil. As good a passer as he is, Montana may not be in Marino's class. But as great a passer as Marino is, he can't beat you as many ways as Montana can.
Get 6! Oh, get 6!
In Super Bowl 19, the 49er offense did more things and did them to a more refined degree than any team in Super Bowl history. They won in a performance that seemed more musical than physical. Every note was perfect. Montana orchestrated Walsh's symphonic offense and proved that football is still a team game, not a one-man aerial circus. Roll over, Montana. Tell Marino the news. The 49ers gained 537 yards in total offense, the most ever in a Super Bowl. A 40-yard completion from Montana to Wendell Tyler late in the third period put the 49ers in position to clinch their second world title in 4 years.
And the Miami defense just cannot cope with the 49ers now. On 3rd and 10, Montana looks over the left side, caught by Craig on the way to the end zone, and Craig goes in for the score. Roger Craig taking the pass from Montana, goes 16 yards with hardly a hand laid on him once he got that ball. And the 49ers are slowly turning Super Bowl 19 into a rout.
What a bag of tricks by Bill Walsh.
The touchdown put San Francisco ahead 38-16. And Roger Craig became the first player ever to score 3 touchdowns in a Super Bowl.
Came to see an offense and the wrong one showed up.
The final voltage in this execution was switched on by the 49er defense. They shut out the Dolphins in the second half, intercepting Marino twice. The first by Eric Wright, the second by Carlton Williamson.
That time by Carlton Williamson.
Pandemonium is breaking out.
It's all over. Super Bowl 19 is in the record books. The 49ers have won it.
Dan Marino's year turned into Joe Montana's day. And the San Francisco 49ers became the first team in NFL history to win 18 games in a single season. They were not only champions of the world, but masters of the game.
We've all got a team we stand behind and cheer, believing in a dream, hoping this will be the year. Now we're all together and the trophy stands alone.